All right, what's going on, you guys? Hope you feeling the background on this one. I had went to the New York Auto Show a few weeks back. I had gotten a media pass and I went to check the show out. I've done a video before of footage of the New York Auto Show before in the past couple years back, but I went and I kind of forgot that I had the footage, so I was kind of just like, okay, maybe let me just put it out there. I don't have that much footage anyway, and just talk about the fight. And you guys could just check out the backgrounds. I know you guys probably tired of seeing my face every time I do a boxing video, but about this fight, man, I like the fight. I like the fight itself. I think it's more of a realistic fight. Not to try to discredit Danny Garcia because he's done a lot in his career, and he's been a career 140 guy that moved up to 147, did win a title up there. He has a good resume, so I just think it's more realistic as far as like the styles. I think the styles match up a little bit better than it did against Spence. I thought the Spence thing was all wrong, a complete mismatch, whereas in Danny should be the favorite to win, but as far as it being a complete mismatch, I don't necessarily agree that it's a complete mismatch. I think it's a more winnable fight for Mikey Garcia. And it's funny because I was thinking when I heard this, after seeing Danny destroy Adrian Granados, I was thinking like, man, not for nothing, but maybe Mikey should have just went up and fought like a guy like Adrian Granados before going straight to Spence. I mean, even if he beat Adrian Granados, he would have lost to Spence anyway, just because we saw how bad Spence beat him up. But I think Danny, stylistically, is a more winnable fight for him. And, I mean, listen, I wanted Mikey to go back down. I wanted to see what he can do at 135 against Lomachenko and some of the guys at 140. But I see why he doesn't want to go back down. I mean, there are a lot of names up there at welterweight, and Danny does have a good name, and he probably really feels like he wants to win a shot, a fight up there, at least go for it one more time before deciding what he's going to do. Everybody in the junior welterweight division is all tied up anyway when it comes to that World Boxing Super Series. So I can see why he didn't move back down to 140. And then you also got 135. Lomachenko's doing his thing. I mean, I don't know what these guys are scheduled to do. And honestly, I don't think Mikey's first fight back down at 135, even if he had went back down, his first fight shouldn't have been Lomachenko. Just like I didn't think Kell Brook should have went to 160 in the first place, but to go right back down and fight Errol, that was one of the few things I was worried about, him coming back down in weight. But I mean, Errol was the mandatory, so the fight should have happened regardless. But it's just like risky moves, man. But I figure, I guess he figures like, hey, I'm already at 147. Why trim all the way back down? Like, I'm already here. I already had a fight at that weight class. I did survive against Spence, regardless of how, different people, different opinions. Some say Errol was trying to knock him out and couldn't. Some people say that Errol wasn't trying to knock him out. So, this video is not really about that. But the only thing I don't like about this fight, and this is just talks, okay? This is not official, just to be clear. It's not official, but they're trying to set the date for August 31st out in, I believe, the Staples Center or out in California. All right. So, I think they're just trying to take advantage of the Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry. So I think that's like a long boxing thing, a long-term boxing thing, and I think they're just trying to take advantage of that. They're both Garcias, and they both have good names, and Mikey has a huge fan base. I mean, you can see how well the Errol and Mikey Garcia pay-per-view numbers did compared to Terrence Crawford and Khan. They were able to do well in Dallas Stadium. I mean, from the looks of it, it looks like they sold well. It looks like it was a successful fight financially. But it shouldn't be a pay-per-view, man, because I mean, listen, if people are willing to pay for it, and I guess these guys, the masterminds behind the scenes, if they can predict that this fight can do well, then they're gonna go for it. If people are willing to pay to see Mikey fight again, then that's on them. I'm not gonna pay for it. I want to see it, but I won't pay for it. But it's just weird because it's like Sean Porter is about to fight Errol Spence, and Sean just beat Danny not too long ago, and then Errol just beat Mikey, and that fight is not a pay-per-view. Like, that's a way better matchup, Sean versus Spence. This, on the other hand, is a good fight. Like, I like the fight, but it's kind of just two names put together, But I think it has the ingredients to be a good fight because I just think stylistically they match up well. I know Mikey didn't look good. He looked chubby against Spence and everything, but Danny doesn't have a lot of attributes that Spence have. He doesn't have that wide, stance with the long arms, and he's just pumping out jabs from a distance. At a high volume. Danny doesn't really fight that way. He doesn't have those kind of attributes. So even though Mikey looked slow and didn't look impressive against Spence, I think he still has superior hand speed than Danny does at welterweight. Even in that fight, if you just go back and look at the fights, Mikey is still quicker than Danny, even though he looks slower as a welterweight. So Mikey's still a very good boxer. You got to understand that Spence and Danny, they bring different problems, and Danny's more, it's just stylistically, it's just a different two fights. I mean, listen, if it goes down, I'll break it down or whatever. I'll explain more, but this fight is a better matchup to me. But it's very risky, especially for Danny Garcia, because you don't want to lose to a guy that just got beat up by Spence pretty easily, especially for a smaller guy. He's still a much smaller guy. So anyway, it's cool. I just hope it's not pay-per-view, that's all. But I like the fight itself, all right? So those are my first thoughts. I'll speak more about it if they make it official, all right? Let me know what you guys think. Peace.